Well, so today we're going to talk about solving the number one marketing challenge in the roofing industry. And so in doing that, you know, if we could have your full attention, I'll do the same. Make sure I put my phone on do not disturb. If you turn off your Facebook, things like that. If you're, in being in a roofing business owner, the things that we work on today could make an extremely big impact on your business for the rest of 2021 and into 2022, helping you to hit those revenue goals. So if you're not familiar with me, my name is Jim Aline. I'm the co-founder of Roofer Marketers. Why you should listen to me, why am I presenting this information? So I'm the co-author of 2 books, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, a digital marketing agency specifically tailored to the roofing industry. We're a Google partner. I speak at all kinds of industry events, most recently at the IRE, back at Win the Storm, RoofCon coming up. We're part of the NRCA. We're members of the NRCA. I host the Roofing Success podcast. And really, this is what we do on a day-to-day basis. We help roofing contractors generate more revenue through their digital marketing efforts. And we work with companies coast to coast, retail, storm restoration. You guys, Dexter and April being down in the South more, you guys have, maybe a little more storm damage restoration. We work with a ton of storm damage restoration contractors. So this is what we do. So hopefully that gives you some confidence in the things that I'm able to present to you today, and hopefully that this, is able to impact your business. Our philosophy, which we outlined in the Best Known Roofer book, our most recent book, is based around 3 principles. And that being the best known roofer is essentially becoming omnipresent to your perfect customer. And what we mean by that is getting them to know you, like you, and trust you, even before they know that they need a roofing contractor, or at the time that they need a roofing contractor. And in this, there's really 3 principles that work into the foundation of this best known roofer system. And the first is to maximize the opportunity to make your phone ring, right? To maximize the opportunity to generate a phone call from your business. That could be through multiple opportunities on Google, SEO, your Google My Business listing, Google pay-per-click advertising, Google local service ads, Google display advertising and retargeting and remarketing. Also through Facebook advertising, social media marketing, video marketing, things like that. So those are maximizing your opportunities. The second is we want to maximize brand impressions. So the more people see you, the more they see your brand, they get to trust your brand, right? If you guys are, down in Houston, a storm comes through and, you guys are out there knocking doors and getting your signs in the yard and trucks in the neighborhood, that creates a level of trust to those homeowners in that area to use you versus someone else that's coming around. So maximizing your brand impressions to your perfect customer is an important part of to becoming the best known roofer, right? And the third focus is to maximize your conversions, and that happens in a lot of ways. And that's really what we're going to be focusing in on in today's presentation, is more around the maximizing of conversions. So if you guys want to chime in a little bit, what are the biggest challenges that you're finding when it comes to marketing, your roofing business? Dexter, what about you, man?
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Well, I actually just opened up a store in Mount Dora too for the company. My boss, he funds everything for it.
Okay.
And we've it's amazing because I'm not into the door knocking in this climate right now, because I feel like nobody wants anybody coming to their door, due to what's going on. And on the second part, I don't want to go to all these people's doors. I got it worse than them because they only got to deal with me. I have to deal with a bunch of people on that block, and somebody on that block has COVID, It's like, so I had to get away from that. So I
Okay.
decided to go to one of the flea markets and open up a booth. Well, the booth, we started with one booth, and now we're actually up to four.
Oh, wow.
They found me a spot where I was able to get four booths. And I'll tell you guys what, as soon as I got my metal samples in last weekend, I mean, I got 10 leads on Saturday, 10 leads. We
That's
were
awesome.
we were usually, we were averaging 5 leads a weekend. I would get like 3, 2 a day, but it only takes one lead to really, one good one,
That's right.
to make it worth it for the month. But we wound up with 10, so we're excited about this weekend, and that's kind
So
of what
now, so the challenge for you isn't enough leads now. So what kind of challenges are you got? So the
conversions,
challenge, I guess, was
conversions.
the conversions. The
Yes.
challenge. So leads converting. And I guess you did express another challenge, and that's in the door-to-door climate in 2021 with
Yes.
all of the
hmm
COVID challenges and things like that. So that's a challenge. April, what about you guys down in Houston? What kind of challenges are you facing from a marketing perspective? You're muted still, April. If you can unmute, that'd be great. And Kate, we didn't get to meet you, but nice to meet you. And we'll have you jump in here in a second too, if you want to express what challenges you guys are facing in your marketing. I saw you unmute, Kate. So go ahead and jump in if you can. Let's see what you have here.
This is Kate. We have a roofing company in Houston. I would say that our biggest challenge is having the conversion.
The conversions. Yeah. So do you think you're finding like a low lead quality, or is that what's kind of do you think is driving that?
Yeah, probably a low lead quality.
Low lead quality. Yeah. So Kelly chimed in chat that we have as our English boss is Amish, and they do not use technology. So on his outlet, trying to reach folks is rough. We're getting leads that we wanted at this time. We're using mailers at this time, getting a few leads, also doing commercial. I have a guy in our mastermind, in a digital marketing mastermind, that works with a lot of Amish in the shed building industry, and I'll reach out to him, maybe get some good ideas for you about how to overcome some of those challenges. But definitely a challenge, right? Technology and not being able to use technology because of the culture, definitely a challenge. And so, Nikki, if you could make a note for Kelly Slayton to check with Jim over at the Shed Builder Marketing. So I'll get that for you, Kel. We'll get some good information for you. But hopefully today's information will also help you, right? This is a little bit more technology based, so I don't know if it's going to be perfect for your guys' situation, but hopefully you'll get some good ideas, right? So what we find a lot of times is that the main things that I find when talking to roofing companies across the country in their marketing challenges, the first thing is that they don't get enough leads, right? That's kind of the first thing that I hear a lot. And then the second one, as Kate said, is low lead quality, right? It's a challenge out there to position yourself properly, to put the right message out to your perfect customer so that you're attracting someone who's looking for your services and is willing to, a lot of times is willing to pay for those services. And they're not just looking for that discount, that discount kind of thing, right? The discount provider. And then, a lot of times, we find a challenge that, you could have a lead cost that's really too high based on your margins and your conversion rates, and you're just not getting that return on investment that you're really hoping to achieve from those leads, right? And so Another thing that I find, and it's something that really happens a lot, it's the lack of clear tracking of this ROI. Oh, April and Kate are with the same company. All right, cool. So we'll get one of you guys in here. So lack of clear tracking for ROI, right? It's really important. And with technology today, and with especially on the digital marketing side, but even on the traditional side, when you're sending those mailers, when you're sending direct mail and things like that, you can have QR codes that people can to track things. You can have call tracking numbers. You can have a lot of these things in place to make sure that you're really, really following where those dollars are going and what kind of return you're getting on those dollars. So another thing is that I hear a lot is that there's too many options. If you want, drop a 1 in the chat if you feel like sometimes there's too many options. You're like, man, should I do Google SEO paid ads? Should I do pay-per-click? Should we just shoot videos? What, there's so many options out there. We can't really choose, right? And so the biggest thing that I feel is that because there's so many options, lead flow, excuse me, sorry, my voice is a little rough today, but lead flow is not really the problem. And it may be specifically in your business, but there are so many options out there for you to generate leads for your business that I don't think that is the number one problem that contractors face, right? You could do SEO, Google ads, local service ads. You could buy leads from Thumbtack and Home Advisor. You can run Facebook ads. You can, all of the things that you could do. Door knocking, which Dexter's not a fan of, right? Like, there's a lot of ways to increase that lead flow, right? There's, this is kind of a list of everything that you can do online, right? Like, there's so many ways for you to generate a lead it's really, that's not the challenge, right? The challenge, I think, a lot of times is the unconverted leads. And I think that you guys down in Houston expressed that a little bit, like, hey, it's the conversion. Like, how do we convert these? And there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle. We're going to talk about it kind of from as the lead comes into your business. Your sales process may need to be adjusted also for that conversion rate, right? So we want to start with the best foot forward, and that's as the lead comes into our business. And then we want to, if that's handled properly, then to work on your sales process next, right? And so you'll be able to identify where the gaps are, where you really need help. So here's a big problem. Even with leads today, 50 to 60% of inbound leads are unconverted. 90% of web forms for companies fail to convert. So why is that, right? On an ongoing, the main reasons that we find this happens is that leads are not followed up within 5 minutes. Leads that are not followed up within 5 minutes go cold, right? So if somebody submits their information to you, or if you're buying like Home Advisor leads or Thumbtack or something like this, that lead comes into your business. If you don't respond to them within 5 minutes, I'm going to kind of harp on this a little bit throughout the presentation. If you don't respond to that lead within 5 minutes, that lead, you have an 80% less chance of ever getting a hold of that person, right? Isn't that crazy? Not of closing that lead, of ever getting a hold of that person. And the average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking, before scheduling that home visit. Today's consumer is open to interacting in many different ways, which is something that we overlook a lot of times, right? We're just worried about sending them an email or maybe giving them a phone call, but text messages, phone calls, and emails all working together is really the best way to make sure that you're on top of your lead flow. So to do this, the solution is really to leverage marketing automation to follow up with web forms within the first 2 minutes of submission via phone, email, and a text message, automating the follow-up process so that every prospect is touched 5+ times they're able to engage in two-way text messaging, emails, they're getting phone calls. You're touching touching them as many times as possible, making sure that you are the one that is going to get that lead. So I know this is kind of a, it's for illustration purposes only, right? Like, but if you had 100 leads and you had a 30% conversion rate, you would book 30 jobs, 30 booked jobs at an average job of $10,000 gross revenue. You got $300,000 in gross revenue. To make a point here, like if you can increase that conversion rate, I know 70% is really high, but just to illustrate this point, that it's an amazing result. Working on that conversion rate is one of the most important things that you can do in your business, from $300,000 to $700,000 in gross revenue. So the goal of what we need to be doing is to make every lead more valuable, right? And so making every lead more valuable is really the kind of what, treating them like gold, right? This is your potential revenue, right? This is your future revenue. Kelly's saying that, yeah, he's has called, used text and email and still not getting leads. This was within a timely manner. We'll have to go through some of that. So let's chat a little bit. So in going through that overview, what are some key takeaways that you can that you've gotten so far? Dexter, what Kate or April?
Responding to the lead as soon as you get it.
Yeah. How are you guys doing in your business with that? What would, if you had to rate yourselves on a, 1 to 10, 10 being we respond immediately, 1 being, they just kind of come in as they come in?
I think I'll give ourselves an 8.
An 8? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. How are you guys generating most of your leads?
Through Thumbtack and Intelix.
Okay, cool. So you're buying leads then, right? So those leads are coming to you. You gotta be on top of those right away. I know Dexter said that he's doing a lot of booth marketing. So at the markets and things like that. We just had a podcast episode. Is that one out yet, Nikki?
Yeah,
That
Eugene.
Eugene with EAS Roofing. I think that was our most recent podcast episode. These guys do a lot of home shows and different types of things like that, and they found that to be a very successful way of generating those leads. So if you get a chance, check out the latest episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. That's my little plug there. And he has a lot of good information, maybe for Dexter about that type of thing. And Kelly, so you've tried this, it sounds like. Are you able to unmute, Kelly? I see you chatting in here with me, but I don't know if you're able to unmute. Doesn't look like it, but you really have to be able to do this, right? You have to be able to respond quickly, especially like for you guys, Kate and April down there, like when you're buying those leads, right? Every lead has a cost, right? So being at an 8 out of 10 is great. That's, you guys are doing a good job of that for sure. So we're going to start with step 1, and that's engage your customers how they want to engage. And you could jump in, Kelly, if you said you had to jump in, put a headset on, you can unmute now. So let's jump back. What was your key takeaways, Kelly? Anything, or what challenges have you had? Because it sounds like you've done some of this stuff.
I've basically taken over the technical side to try to get his business going because he hit like a standstill.
Okay.
And we've done mailers with reprint mail. We are listed with Angie Leads as a business because he does commercial only. The
Oh,
issue we're
yeah.
having with Angie Leads is he is getting residential leads, and I'm
Residential,
having
yeah.
to get a hold of them saying, no, you can reimburse us our money because this is
Yeah.
not what we're asking for.
Yeah.
And I have the mailer list. He's had one prior to, and the recent one, I'm going through it, emailing them and physically calling all of these businesses. So they're getting a 4-touch from us. And
Nice.
it's difficult because people are not receptive. I get receptionists that don't make the business choices saying, oh, we don't need your business, click. And they're not even the people that make that choice anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's frustrating because we're hitting them at least 3 ways for sure, and if not a 4th way, if they're looking on Angie Leads.
Yeah. It's tough. You're going to have a challenge on Angie with commercial for sure. That if you know, on the commercial roofing side of things, a lot, you know, you're talking about building owners and property and project manager or property managers. I'm sorry. And in that business, it's such a relationship business. It's a very relationship based business. There's not a lot of those people that when they need a roof, they don't go to Google as often, right? They don't go to Angie's List and Home Advisor and a lot of these places as often. A lot of times that's because, like, from a property manager's perspective, they could just knock on the door next to them in their office and say, hey, the roofer that I'm using, they're not doing too well. Who do you use? Right. And so a lot of times that brand awareness is a lot more important on the commercial side, and just touching them over and over and over and over. You know, when we're talking about, you know, 4 to 6, 8 touches, you may have to, you know, continuously communicate through many different avenues just to get on their radar. And then it's really identifying, and we're getting a little off topic here, but it's really identifying the decision makers in those businesses and figuring out how to get to them. So I know that is definitely challenging on the commercial side of things, but
it is. And the other thing I've started doing is, if I have a Dollar General, I'm going to use them as an example because they're everywhere.
Yep.
Even in the middle of nowhere, they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get on their contractor list. Like, to be able to say, okay, if you have an issue, get us on your contractor list. Let us be the first ones to come out and take a look at it, instead of them reaching out and just contacting anybody. I've actually gone to the length of trying to get on the lists of, like, the chain stores or whatnot on their contract list, so we can get that first bid. You know, because most people with contractors, they do bids, and whoever they choose gets there might be 5 bids on it, and they choose one of the 5.
The bid work on the re-roofs but then they also have their maintenance programs, and a lot of times that's a good place to start to develop those relationships, is on the maintenance programs that will lead to re-roofs in the future. So depending on what kind of services your guys offer, but so this is going to be a little bit different on for commercial. We're really we're speaking a little bit more to the residential homeowner here when they are looking for a roof, but it would apply when that building owner, when that property owner, when the property manager reaches out to you. It would definitely show what we're going to talk about today would really impress someone in that regard, right? Well, wow, you guys are really fast in communicating and things like that. So I'm gonna keep on going. Statistics have shown that 98% of all text messages are opened, and 95% of text messages are open and responded to within 3 minutes. So, you know, for you, Kelly, you know, it's tough to get these people's cell phone numbers, right? So it would be a challenge there. But if you do get them to opt in for something and are able to get that cell phone number, that's where you're going to do that. You're going to get that a lot more on the residential side, right? People are, you know, most people only have cell phones nowadays. So when they're filling out the form on your online, to reach out to you to ask for, if you could come out and do an inspection or something like that, they're probably going to put in their cell phone number. So this is something that it's really unique, right? 95% of text messages are opened and responded to within 3 minutes. So it's what more and more US consumers are likely to do. And what is this here? 5 times more likely to send and receive text messages than phone calls. It's crazy how much this is changing. 2 is, following up quickly. So again, what we talked about earlier is leads that are not followed up with in 5 minutes go cold. A follow-up within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective than calling after 30 minutes. There's been studies done on this stuff. It's so crazy. And after 5 minutes, the odds of qualifying a lead, the odds of ever getting a hold of that person drop by 80%. And for you guys down there in Houston, especially working those purchased leads for Kate and April, 50% of leads go with the vendor that responds first. So being that first to respond is even more important when you're doing that. And Kelly also for the Angie leads too, it's the same way. I kind of, people don't like salespeople, right? And so once you get out to their home, once you do that inspection, once you do your sales presentation, it's very unlikely that it's not as likely that a lot of people don't want to have more salespeople coming to their house. So, there are those price shoppers and things like that. You'll always get that. But in general, and that's why 50% of leads, they go with the vendor that they get, that responds first. The third thing that we're going to do is we're going to leverage automation, right? So you need to leverage automation so that every lead gets an email, an SMS within 30 seconds of submission, and a call from someone within your company. Every lead is followed up with at least 7 times. So emails, text messages, phones, until they book that home visit with you, or they tell you that they're not interested. And so what that looks like is, maybe you're running like Google AdWords or something. They come to a website or to your landing page, they enter their information, that they fill out that form, they hit the thank you page. Now we need to move them, and this is kind of a diagram of one of these kind of lead flows, right? So if the person answers, or when they submit that lead, a text message goes out to them and an email goes out to them, and then a phone call gets generated to your company. And if they answer, this happens, and if they don't answer, this happens. So, and then, if they don't answer, then maybe you send them a text that says, hey, I saw that, we tried to get a hold of you. You weren't available. Here's a link to schedule a home visit, to schedule your free inspection on our calendar, to schedule your free estimate. And so in doing that, you're giving them multiple opportunities to book with you. You're maximizing that lead, right? You're maximizing the opportunity in that lead. And so if you followed up with all of your leads in that way, you would have such a greater chance of converting those leads. So here's an example of a company here, APAL Roofing out in Raleigh, 63 leads, a 30% book job, $1,858 spent, $19,000 return on that, and I'm speaking from a 10%, kind of an average 10% net profit to the company, right? So $10,000 in gross revenue per job, $190,000, 10% gross. But, increasing that conversion rate, right, increases that bottom line to the company, right? Top line and bottom line. So this is Art from APAL, but really what I like to point out here, there's a direct marketing, he's one of the top direct marketing professionals or people in the world. His name is Dan Kennedy. And here's a quote from him, is that the business that can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. And that's a tough thing for us to accept as business owners sometimes, but it really is the truth, right? You look at some of the larger companies in your area and with just, giant marketing budgets, and you're like, man, how can they afford to spend all of that? Well, a lot of times it's that they're building that into their margins, right? They're not selling at $450 a square. They're at, $800-900 a square. You go, man, that's so crazy that they are able to sell at that. But it's their sales process and everything that they have dialed in, and the amount of marketing that they're doing. So they're spending a lot of money on marketing to acquire those customers. So let's talk about implementing this in your business. So like we talked about already a little bit is, you have to have a flow to this system. And that flow starts with someone visiting your website, visiting a landing page from a paid ad or a Facebook ad, things like that, filling out a form and getting to a thank you page. So it all starts on your website. Having multiple options for customers to contact you, right? Even when you're buying like thumbtack leads and things like that, a lot of times these people are going to come to your website and look you up, right? They may, or they see a sign in the yard of their neighbor, in their neighborhood, and they go to your website, or they find you in a Google search, things like that, or they see you at the local market, in Dexter's case, right? And so they look you up. So on your website, you have to have multiple ways for them to communicate with you. The first is you definitely have to have the ability to call you, right? I see this as a big issue for a lot of contractors is they don't have their phone number. They play hide and seek with their phone number on their website, right? So you have to scroll down to the bottom of the page in some little corner. There's the website in like the smallest font ever. You want to make your phone number very prominently displayed on the homepage. The upper right-hand corner is the best area for that. It has been studied. Our eyes roll across the page from left to right, right? So then also in that area, maybe they don't want to call, right? People don't like to talk to salespeople. So they're like, hey, I want to submit a form. So having the ability for them to do that in that area also. And then having another opportunity for them to fill out that form. And then having the opportunity for them to chat with you, right? Giving your customers, your prospects, the opportunity to communicate with you in the way that they are most comfortable. I hope that makes sense. Then as we move on, let's say they click the schedule free estimate button, right? Now that takes them to a form where they fill out a form. We use what are called long forms, where it's a step-by-step process of implementing collecting the information from people. So it would be, what is your name? Then what is your zip code? What's your phone number? What's your email address? We always have the phone number as the last thing in the sequence. And in that, when they get to the end of that, having a system built, and what the way that we have it built is that once they hit schedule free estimate or at the end of that form, they get taken to a thank you page that says, hey, we've received your request. Please have your phone ready. We'll be calling you very shortly. And what that does is it syncs in with our call tracking system. And the instant that they hit submit on that form, it integrates with our call tracking system and generates a phone call to your company. So the second that it hits your inbox, your phone is ringing. You answer the phone. It says, you have a new web form lead. Press 1 to connect. You press 1 and it does an outbound dial to the phone number that they put in that form. So if they answer the phone, you're on the phone with them in like 20 seconds, right? I hear over and over and over we record all these calls. I hear over and over and over again in our call tracking system, people saying, wow, that was quick. Oh, wait, how'd you call me so fast? Like, man, you guys are on top of things. Like, creating that first impression. Contractors don't answer the phone. Roofers don't answer the phone. Call 10 companies in your area right now. You might get 3 that pick up. It is crazy. So that's the experience that the consumer is used to. And if you change that experience for them, the trust level in your company increases, helping to increase that conversion rate. If they don't answer, a text message can go out to them. An email can go out to them, right? Hey, this is Ashley. Thank you for reaching out via the form on our website. Would you like to schedule a time for a service, for a home visit right now, for a free inspection? Great. Simply click and choose from our calendar, right? So you can set up all of these ways that these that the prospects coming into your system can then interact with you and book with you very quickly. A friend of mine that I do a lot of content with, his name is Adam Bensman. He is on one of our podcast episodes. He talks about the cable guy method. And it's a big belief in mine too, that once you get that home visit scheduled, once you get the estimate, the inspection scheduled, people stop calling, right? So their solution, they have a solution to their problem. Someone is coming out to take a look at it. They're not usually, there are those people, but they're not usually calling 3 or 4 people to get everyone to come out to the house to do an inspection, right? So the second that you get them on the calendar, that's the way to do it. So when they come through, even if you don't know when your salesperson or inspector is able to estimate or is able to get out to the house, schedule it with what Adam refers to as the cable guy method, right? Hey, are you available from 10 to noon, noon to 2, 2 to 4, right? Here's 3 options for you, and so you're giving them an option to be on the schedule. Then you could take that into your company, and if someone isn't available to get out there at that time, hey, the salesperson calls up and says, hey, I'm sorry, we're not able to get out there at that time. Something came up. How was, Thursday at 2 instead of Wednesday at 10, right? So, but because you're on the schedule, they're not calling the next person in line. And you could do this with all of the ways that you bring in leads to your business, whether it's Angie's List or Thumbtack or Google Ads or Facebook or from your website. All of them can be communicated with in the same way, but they can also be customized, right? If you're speaking to someone who came in through Thumbtack, you can communicate with them. Hey, you submitted an inquiry on Thumbtack. Would you like to schedule your free home? When would you like to schedule your free inspection? Click here now, right? Those types of things, giving people the opportunity to get on that calendar. So again, leads that are not followed up with within 5 minutes go cold. After a follow-up within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective than calling after 30. 50% of leads go with the vendor that responded first, and 90% of all text messages are open, and 95% are open and responded to within 3 minutes of being delivered. Think about yourself, right? On your phone, it's very hard to ignore that text message. It's much easier to ignore the phone call, and it's much easier to ignore the email. I don't know what it is, but when that text message comes through, you're reading it. And a lot of times you're responding. It's the way people communicate right now. So do you feel that this would make you more money and help you convert more leads and grow your business? If you want to chime in, that's great. If you want to just drop a 1 in the chat if you feel that that's true. Again, another, some more examples, 58 leads at a 60% conversion rate, 35 jobs, $350,000 in gross revenue, 9.4% return on investment on this ad spend that they had, right? And another quote that I'd like to bring out to you is a guy named Jeff Eisenberg, another great marketer. It's much easier to double your business by doubling your conversion rate than by doubling your traffic or doubling your lead flow, right? So I really want you to understand that getting your conversion rate dialed in on the front end and then working on the conversion rate in your sales process is really the way that that you can increase the revenue in your company without increasing the marketing dollars. And that's really the best thing to do, right? So listen, just hope that it picks up. Commercial side, having boss almost faith makes it. Yeah, Kelly, you're in a tricky spot. So Kelly said it, it makes sense, and just hope that this picks up. Commercial side and having the challenges of the not being able to use technology and the Amish faith makes it a little bit more tricky to navigate, which is definitely true. Dexter, April, Kate, if you have any other questions or want to discuss some of this stuff, feel free to jump in. What's coming up in your mind right now? Is there, how to implement it, what to implement, what, anything that you want, we're here to help. So. No questions. Too much stuff, too much to think about, or not enough to think about.
No, I'm good. I mean, I basically like doubling your conversions and doubling your leads.
When you focus in on that, man, it will really, that's just the mindset of that, right? The mindset of focusing on that. Like, hey, you have, like you said, you're getting like 10 leads from the booth that you have, increasing the conversion rate on those leads is going to be easier than having a booth at a different place next week, or or having multiple booths going at the same time or something like that, right?
Right.
So
that's where we're going too. We're talking about doing another one over in Melbourne. So yeah. But,
and it sounds like it's working. And I really encourage you to listen to that latest episode of the Roofing Success podcast with Eugene. He really talks about, they do more home shows and things like that, but man, they're like the event marketing that they're doing is really helping their business for sure. It's getting that face-to-face, right? People buy from who they know, like, and trust. So if you can be in front of them, I will give you my opinion. I think you're missing out on a big opportunity in the door-to-door side of things. I know Florida has had some challenges, especially with the new laws that went into effect, but that are now being challenged very diligently. So, and I know that in the current market or in the current climate, the COVID climate, it is, but man, I know companies down there in your area that are doing, tens of millions of dollars with boots and knuckles. What I mean?
Absolutely. So, I mean, that's the way to go. We did some, probably about 3 months ago, until we seen the cops show up in the neighborhood. So then we thought, somebody might have called it. Yeah, because it looked like they had like a no soliciting or something, maybe just in a little segment of Winter Park. Yeah, but these homes average, $1 million.
That's right.
They're pretty high end, but that's the neighborhoods we want to hit. They had hail damage, so
that's right. Exactly.
But I was kind of deterred with that, and then just like after things started developing more with the COVID. But I know what you're saying. Door knocking can never be replaced, because you have a lot of people that, I hate to put it that way, but are kind of lazy and would rather the service come to them than them go to any service.
And one of the things, especially down in storm damage restoration area markets, is you're going directly to that person, right? You're going directly to the people that are probably in the most need of your services at that time, which is invaluable, right? When you're out at the market, and you have your booth, you don't know who's at the market and who needs your services, right? So you're kind of relying on, hopefully some of these people need a new roof, where, when you're out there knocking on doors after a storm, you know what happened here, right? You know the wind damage that happened there, the hail damage that happened there, things like that. So it's easier to identify that person that's in need today.
Absolutely.
But it's not just one thing too, right? It's adding layers to it. So doing your booths, doing your door knocking, doing direct mail, doing, SEO, doing Facebook ads, doing social media marketing, doing all of these things, buying leads like the gals down, the ladies here that are down in Houston, right? All of these things impact, right? And they all build on each other.
Yeah, we buy
Kate,
leads too, and we pay about maybe $100 to $200 a lead.
Oh yeah, that's roofing.
Yeah, the one good thing about the booth is that, and I call it a store now because it's so huge, but the one good thing about that is they're all prospects. There is no such thing as a lead.
Yes.
They all come in with a need.
Yep.
They
walked
whatever
up
it
to
is.
you.
Right.
Yeah, they walked up to you. They expressed them. They raised their hand by walking up to you. Yeah. Awesome. Kate, April, anything? No, a little quiet over there. So we'll wrap up today. Hey, if you guys need anything from us, the mission of Roofer Marketers is to help roofing contractors generate more revenue through their digital marketing efforts. We do that in two ways. We do that through our digital marketing agency, where we do this for you. And then we do this through our education side, which is through like our books, my speaking engagements, these webinars, things like that. This is an ongoing series. So next month, there will be a webinar on a different topic. Hopefully that will invite you guys all to that. And that it will, each of these will have some kind of value and impact on your business going forward. So thanks everyone for their time. Thanks for jumping on with us today. And
does have a question, Jim.
What's that? Oh, April does.
Have
having issues. Sending out postcards to a particular zip code in Texas. Okay. Oh, let me, so since we have issues in converting leads, we are trying to send out postcards to a particular zip code in Texas. So we still need to wait if this will help us. Do you think this strategy will work? Yeah. So it can work. So you're sending, okay, so April, I'm sorry if you couldn't unmute for a second, but okay, direct mail is a strategy, is a tricky one. Conversion rates on direct mail are usually between 1% and 3%, right? So when you're just sending to a specific zip code and relying on just the postcard, that's one piece of the puzzle. I turn this back on, perfect timing. There's lots of puzzle pieces here, right? So the clients that we work with and the people that I know in the industry that are most effective with these strategies, they're doing direct mail to a neighborhood, they're running Facebook ads in that neighborhood, and they're door knocking in that neighborhood all at the same time. Does that make sense?
Right. Gotcha.
Right. So it's a multi-touch approach is how you are able to get the conversion rate higher out of the direct mail pieces. Who are you using for direct mail?
We have a few though.
Okay.
We have we sent out a batch last month, so
Okay.
not just a particular zip, but like 25 to 50 radius all around on that zip. So
yeah, 25-mile radius.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big radius. That's huge, right? So that's you're blanketing with that, right? That's a much more challenging thing, and it's not. It can work for sure, but it's not as cost effective as being more targeted with it. How many? Let's say on average, how many jobs a month are you guys doing?
We usually get 2 jobs per week.
2 a week.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So have you found that you guys are doing more jobs in Katy or Sugar Land or Cypress?
Yeah, we do have in Cyprus, but just only a few on some cities.
Yep.
So we have mostly in Houston.
Okay.
We also have a lot in Tumbal, in
Tomball,
Trinity
yeah.
as well. So
Yeah. So this is a, when you're talking about layering these things, when you're doing direct mail, you can target those people that are in the markets that you're specifically working in, right? So now when you're in Tomball, hopefully, I don't know if you guys have wrap trucks or anything like that, but wrap trucks, signs in the yard, and then direct mail pieces to the neighbors of that job, right? And
yeah,
if you're able,
we were doing yard signs as well. So
yeah, yard signs are great. And then on top of it, like one of the companies that I know that does this very effectively is when they sign the contract, they do a direct mail to like the 50 closest neighbors, right? And then essentially saying, hey, we got, we're doing this job on, on Jones Street in Tomball, and we want to let you know that we're in your neighborhood, and we're doing work for your neighbors, kind of thing, right? Then when the job is complete, they send another mailer to 50 of the closest neighbors. So they're using direct mail to be much more targeted than blanketing like you're doing. When you're talking about
right.
like sending to a 25-mile radius, my thoughts on that is if you do that, you're going to get probably a 1 to 1.5% conversion rate on those postcards. And you have to commit to doing that monthly for at least 18 months to get to that 1.5% conversion rate, because they have to see you over and over and over and over again. Direct mail is a long-term marketing strategy in the way that you're doing it when you're blanketing areas. So
Okay.
is that helpful for you? I can get you in touch with some people that do very direct targeting, so that when you sign that when the homeowner signs that contract, you can hit the 50 closest houses. You can do those things. So if you'd like, send Nikki an email, and we can get you in touch with a company that specializes in that type of direct mail, which is much more, which we think is much more effective. Now, if you had I don't know what your marketing budgets are, right? If you had the marketing budgets to just mail to people over and over and over and over and over and over again, that strategy could work, right? But it's the consistency in mailing that works in that regard. So there's so many ways, so many ways to,
I know.
to invest your marketing budget, right? There's so many ways. So anything else?
Nah, that would be all. But we're just testing waters with the postcards right now. So
Yeah. And it's, and so in testing things, you have to have the right expectations. So that's what I hope that I've helped you, set up, is that you got to do this. If you're going to test this, you can't send it for a month. Can't send it for 3 months.
we're sending out actually in 5 months.
5 months. 5 months is still a short time, I think.
I know.
And so each type of marketing strategy takes a certain amount of time to execute and implement. So, but I would focus that in more, and I would get boots on the ground, boots and knuckles, following up with those postcards also, so that you just get in the neighborhood more and more, create a lot of activity in very specific areas. I mean, you guys are, you're in Houston. There's a lot of storm. I mean, it's not Dallas with the storms, but there's, you can work the storms that come through.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, hurricane season is coming, right? So, things are, you are also able to directly target, same with Dexter over there in Florida. You can really target the people who need your assistance at this time. So that really helps. So,
All right. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
I have a quick question. What amount
Sure.
of time would you advise for any marketing strategy? I heard you say that 5 months it's still not
For direct
still
mail,
not
direct mail blanketing with not targeted direct mail, like a blanket of direct mail, like you guys are doing to a 25-mile radius. I would say a commitment of like 18 months is probably where you start to really see results. And I'm not talking about 5% conversion rates. Like that's where it's a challenging strategy. 12-month minimum, but probably towards 18 months of mailing to the same people month after month after month. What is your offer on that mailing? So are you offering a free inspection? Are you offering financing? What is your offer that you're sending on that postcard?
I'm sorry, I was speaking on mute.
Oh, no problem.
We offer a free inspection.
Okay.
And we also have a financing option as well.
So a financing offer is an offer. Free inspection is not an offer. Just to, and I kind of set that up a little funny for you, but everyone gives a free inspection in roofing, right? So it's not an offer that encourages them to call you now, right? So that's another part of direct mail, and the people that we get you in touch with, they can explain that a little bit more to you. It's challenging in direct mail because people respond to offers.
Can I chime in right quick, Jim?
Yeah, sure.
All right, just to cut you, and I agree with you that it is not an offer, but I also agree with the caller that you've got to have that on your pamphlet, your
for sure,
that you're saying,
yeah,
because
yep.
I can't tell you how many people ask me, is it free? I
Yeah.
mean, you know, when they come in to meet with me and stuff,
That's
and we're
right.
talking, and I schedule to come out to their house, they say, is it free? And at one point, we actually had no charge roof inspections. And because we didn't want to use the word free estimates,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm going to
yep.
tell you what, honestly, maybe it's just the demographic of Mount Dora, Florida, but it seems like you got to use that free. You know, it's a free, and I hate that word too, but it seems like that's got to be there, free estimates, and
For
it's
sure.
clear,
How
clear and
about
concise form.
How about something instead of free inspection, it would be free report, kind of a free report on the, free 29-page report on the,
Right.
status of your roof, something like that, right? So you're changing it a little bit. You're saying free, it's a free inspection. I agree. Everyone, people, it needs to be free, but it's not an offer that people are going to pick up the phone over because they don't feel the urgency in it, right? Up to X amount of dollars off before this date creates an urgency to pick up the phone, right? Free shingle upgrade before this date picks up, you know what I mean? Like
I love it. I love it.
You see what I'm saying? So direct mail is challenging in that way. It's because you really need a responsive offer. So testing those offers is another thing that's important for April and Kate in their direct mail too. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on today, guys. Really appreciate it. I'll let everyone go. I think we're definitely approaching an hour here. So thanks for you guys' time. If you need anything from us, feel free to reach out. We're around. Please listen to the Roofing Success Podcast, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. Leave us a review, and we'll talk to everyone soon.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah. Have a good one.